everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Charlotte.
Hi.
And our fantastic producer, Cameron.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about some video games. We took last week off, so... God damn it, Cameron, are you serious? So we took last... We took last week. Oh my god! Oh my god! This is. I'm just gonna start pinching myself. This is literally my worst nightmare. You guys are the worst.
You love us. Fuck up.
All right. Well, if you want to come see this shit show live, we're on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. And come say hi, hang out in the chat, shit post, respond. We do kind of try to interact with the chat as much as we can while we're recording. We have someone requesting Freebird in the chat at the moment. Unfortunately,
we do video games and Freebird.
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 I would do Freebird, but unfortunately, that song basically has no lyrics.
It's also too predictable.
You just do a guitar
Can't
solo.
do it now.
Yeah, exactly. Just do a guitar. Well, I don't want to get fucking DMCA'd again.
Do a guitar solo for 8 minutes.
It's happened once. We can't do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Like if my mouth guitar solo is just too good, they're just gonna be like, I don't know. That's pretty close.
I heard that as something completely wrong to what you actually tried to say.
Yep.
Look, it was a journey to get us there.
Oh, nice. So there we go. Bring it back around.
Okay.
But speaking of song of the week, Cameron's going to transition us to a 90s classic. Take it away.
Oh God. Why is that not? Give me 2 seconds. Discord has decided to default. Why is that? I'm reopening Discord. So that's not working.
Okay, that's good. That's great.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to
Can you download it?
Yeah. It's playing.
Playing through your speakers.
I was going to say, there's background noise. Where the fuck is it playing?
It's...
There
we go. All right, cool. Restarting it.
I'm drifting off tonight, 'cause I'm bored of every fight. The game is just alright, but it just goes on. Just cutscenes endlessly, but I'm wanting to be free. So I'm counting down till I am finally done. I know I got to play some more. I gotta try. I wanna see it off my list. Backlog, bye.
Baby Shark. God damn it. People can hear me, yeah?
Yes, people can hear you.
Yeah.
It's not Baby Shark, as Firehawk has put it out in the chat. It is not Baby Shark.
Justin
It's
Timberlake?
definitely not Baby Shark.
Okay, it's not...
Close.
It's close.
Is
It's
it
not
in sync?
It is in sync, yes.
Okay,
I'm going to just say, Cameron, bye. Leave the Discord.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. At the same time, I'm just frustrated that 30 seconds before setting it up, where everything says it's working.
You're on the right track with Justin Timberlake. Just not his lonesome.
No, you're right. It was in sync. Yes, you got it.
Sorry. Noodlehead Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Yes, it is Noodlehead. Yeah, so it is. Well, Charlotte, do you know what the song is?
Bye.
There you go. Okay, yeah. I literally said it on the last line because there's...
I literally just said it before.
But yes, it is Bye by NSYNC, the 90s classic.
All right, that's it. Have a good podcast. Bye.
See you later.
Yeah.
We're out.
All right.
God, the 90s were horrible for hair.
Right. Yeah. It was...
you're the only one trying to keep curly hair going.
Trying to keep it. I mean, look, I can't help my genetics, okay?
He has no choice.
No,
I've
literally...
known 2 curly-haired people my entire life, and one of them is Matt.
Well, to be fair, my hair is not curly; it's wavy. It's a little bit different. Because like if you actually look at it, like it's like it doesn't actually curl. As like I don't have an actual
It's
term.
just it's a mess.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I don't get to do the broccoli the broccoli hair fucking zoomer thing where I shave the sides or anything. Like I'd still have to do more with the hair to do that. So
Broccoli hair.
yeah, you haven't seen the
Yeah,
fucking
so
zoomer?
it's like all on the top. It's like flat and then poof.
Yeah, it's all curled on the top. It's a
I'll see.
I can't keep up with the boomer trends these days. Let's move on.
no. Mullets are not in. Mullets are
That
not
is
in.
disgusting.
No,
And bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently there is support for my my new icon being scruffy as well as me being scruffy. So it's at least true to form.
Speaking of which,
yeah, true to form. Yeah, we now have some new some wonderful new art. Cameron, do you want to run us through what we've got, what the people are seeing at home?
We've got a beautiful new logo behind, like below, which I'm going to make into a shirt. And that's pretty much it.
Go on.
Oh, you also have the new logos.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah.
So we have our own personal logo. Like I like pictures now.
Yeah.
And we have the logo.
Yeah. I mean, we've had our personal pictures for a
little while, but we haven't actually mentioned it. So
Yeah.
we're kind of keeping it under lock and like until we got the logo. So,
but it's all done now. It looks really good. We're very, very happy with it. And yeah, this is going to be the last overlay. Cameron's not making it anymore, so I'm going to have to get him to redo the intro.
I've been too busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. More work? God damn it.
Oh, it'll take 5 seconds.
That's what he liked. That's see. This is the thing. He'll say it'll take 5 seconds, and then my OCD will kick in, and then it'll be a fucking nightmare again.
I'm just saying there is now a new person helping with the Twitter account, so I can also help with graphics. So it's not just you now, Cameron. You do have support.
You posted the Twitter post to say we're going live?
Good question.
She's also been really good about posting on Tuesdays when the episode's available for everyone, right?
Oh, shut the fuck up. Life gets in the way.
It does, indeed.
It does.
All right, let's get into our questions. Cameron, you came up with a bit of a two-parter for last week that we'll just move over.
Okay,
so what have we got?
Apologies for last week. I was flat out. Everybody was flat out last week, and
it happens. We needed a break for a week.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I got sick. Just out of nowhere, just like completely slept all day to 4 o'clock, and I still felt like shit after. Anyway, so yeah, first question was: should all games have the option to skip cutscenes?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. And 2, how do you?
100% yes.
Yep. How do you feel about games being recognized for championing accessibility based off the fact that they don't have the option to skip cutscenes? This is obviously referring to God of War Ragnarok. Getting all this recognition for all these different accessibility things. And then I've just saw a few comments going like, wait a minute. Like, is this, which, like, I'm kind of leaning on both sides. It's not an accessibility thing, but it's kind of like it's a nice thing to have.
I mean, I think all games should have it. I know from a technical perspective, a lot of them use cutscenes to hide loading and rendering. So
the question is this like, you know how you've got accessibility and then you've got the quality of life. So that's the big difference, right? It's like that's more of a quality of life thing. We'd like it to be there, but it's not necessarily going to be an accessibility thing because it's not necessarily helping you play the game better. I think is what it is. And like jumping through cutscenes, again, it's not necessarily going to help you play the game. It's just a quality of life tool.
Yeah, I 100% agree, actually. That's a really good distinction because I was trying to figure out, like, what category does it fit in? But I think that's
because it's not really accessibility.
Quality of life would be a good thing.
It's like things that would make it easier and more enjoyable to play the game, but it's not necessarily going to help you in terms of actually how you play the game because that's what accessibility is. It's for people that might have neurodivergency like me and need a little bit of help with actually playing the game or colorblind or like, or deaf or one of those things. It's not like that. Yeah.
I was going to mention that I was doing Halo Infinite with Killer Anubis the other day. That intro, 5 or 6 different cutscenes. Failing
Wow.
and it just skip. This is one of the things that we've both done the campaign like at least once or twice. Like we don't need to see the cutscenes again unless we want that story again. I just want to get into the gameplay.
And I really think that a lot of that is like we need to hide a loading screen here, or we need to there are reasons behind why we don't have a skip scene.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I've been playing a few things that have different kinds of cutscenes, where it's like sometimes it's like in engine stuff, like a dialogue in engine you can't skip through, but anything that is like because it's like more like visual novel, like you got to press through the dialogue prompts. But anything where the dialogue is just talking and they actually have voice acting and stuff, you can skip through straight away. So. Yeah, 5 scenes. That's all. Laughs and MGS. Exactly, 100%. I mean, to be fair, I love Metal Gear Solid, but those are good because you can pause those cutscenes and you can skip them. So you get everything you need.
Yeah, game.
I mean, that would be handy. Like often when you get to a cutscene, you're like, actually, this is a perfect time for me to go and do something. So actually being able to pause the cutscene. Yeah.
And not knowing if you're going to hit the button, if it's going to skip it, or if it's going to pause it is always a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, fair.
Metal Gear Solid 4 especially is an egregious example because like I think it was like end of Act 3 has like a really long cutscene, which then goes into the beginning of Act 4 that has a really long. And when I say a really long cutscene, I'm talking like an hour and a half of like there's like 45 minutes of cutscene at the end and 45 minutes on the end before you like between gameplay. So that's a whole fucking movie right there. I love Metal Gear Solid, but it is egregious. You might as well just watch it.
That's called a movie.
Yes,
well, it is.
It was so bad that with Metal Gear Solid 3, when they did the re-release, the Subsistence re-release, I got the disc version back in the day on the PlayStation. It came with like a DVD that you could just put it in and just watch the entire game. They strung all the cutscenes together with a tiny bit of like gameplay like in there, and you could just. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best one. So anyway,
I've only played the first one.
First one's good too.
If you've got both discs.
Yeah, true. What was the other question that we've got here from
Isaac?
Isaac gave us 2. Did he not this week?
I think Isaac had an initial one and then a follow-up one.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, so this one's his one here. Hey guys, so you can't play or install Return to Monkey Island on an Xbox One and can only play it via xCloud, PC, or on a Series console. Do you think this trend will continue and games will soon stop being made for Xbox One? Thanks for the show, Isaac.
Yes, because they've got the workaround now with the streaming to Xbox One. Like, really, they didn't need to do that either. I think that was a really nice way to bridge the gap between prior console generation and this current console generation.
Yeah.
Especially
because they won't want to cut them out.
Yeah, especially with shortages, which I feel like we're mostly back to normal now.
Just about it.
I think PlayStation's back to normal roughly now too.
I did see a report saying that scalping bots are not looking for PlayStations as much anymore, so that's usually a good sign that there's enough supply.
Yeah, and they're in stock around, so you can go and get them now, so that's at least a plus.
I mean, we just celebrated the 2-year anniversary of both consoles, yeah?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you also put a follow-up question I've just chucked in there that is like, do you think this game's being available via Game Pass will push people more into Game Pass Ultimate instead of buying a series console? I know I'm fine still with my One X and I mostly play on cloud using my phone, so I'm not planning on buying a new console anytime soon.
Do we really see Ultimate subscribers using cloud streaming on Xbox One?
Good question. This would be a really good question to put to Mike, actually, because she still has her Xbox One and she won't be upgrading to her Series X until it dies. So I don't know if she's really been using cloud, but I know that she was looking into it for some of the games because she's just done the one that we did. What's it called? This Far Out space thing.
Oh, yeah.
The one that was really glitchy for us. She just did that with John.
Space Lands from the Far Out, yeah.
Yeah, Space Lands from the Far Out, yeah. So she just did that. And I think that John was doing it via xCloud. So, yeah, and I think they were fine. So I think
I think you can have niche cases. I don't think it's going to be like anywhere near a majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think that, Phil Spencer has said many times that their goal is to have, 1 billion people playing games all over the place, different means, right? And so having, like you said, Cameron, that sort of bridge of saying, hey, we're moving away from allowing these consoles to play these things natively, but cloud gaming has gotten to the point where most people's internet connections in the main markets are good enough that they can stream these things to their consoles without any real major issues.
Like most people would have like fiber now.
Yeah, well, yeah,
right. You'd hope. Like, I know that there's people that don't have it, right? I know, yeah. Like there are people that don't, but like, I can't imagine not having fiber internet now. It's kind of an odd thing.
Yeah.
And like even now, we complain in my flat because we get 150.
Wow.
Uploaded. Like
150.
I know.
Bravo.
Okay. So I came from Hong Kong where we were getting solidly 800. Solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then coming back to New Zealand and getting like 100, I was like, what the fuck? It's a real big change to go from like huge fast internet speed to like really slow. But we're gonna hopefully go to a higher plan and get more speed because we have a decent enough modem. The plans that we're on, our companies are throttling it now.
Yeah, that's why look, the company I'm with is like 900 down, 500 up, which is like fucking incredible. And like again, it doesn't always hit that, right? Like
no. And it's not it also is dependent on all of your devices and stuff as well, right? So it's not necessarily going to always be that.
Wired and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So you're always going to get it faster and wired, but like it's still chilly. It's still on dial-up. Oh my god.
I'm on 40. I remember when I was a teenager having dial-up overnight to download songs for iTunes.
Oh yeah. I just let them sit overnight.
Good old 56K.
Okay, good. Because I was like, chilly dog, what the fuck?
I was going to say, please don't tell me you're on dial-up.
Yeah, dial-up.
Can you even get up dial-up?
Like, we're so sorry. Like, I don't think you can. I'm pretty sure
you can apply for the Red Cross if you're
because ADSL.
So my biggest pet peeve in life has been when I was a teenager. So this is
back in my day.
So about 14, 15 years
so
ago.
Old.
I was like 14, 15. Like being the oldest tech kid in the family, if there was any computer issues, my parents always used to go to me.
Yeah, that doesn't change for me. That still happens.
It still happens. It's quite annoying. But because Nikita has an IT certificate, I just go and tell him to ask her. Kind of thing, yeah. Mine's out of date. It's fine. Anyway, Telstra used to always call a house like at least once a month, being like, "You guys know you can upgrade to an NBN, not what was it, ADSL plus 2 back then or something."
Well, VDSL,
Every single month they would call up and just be like, "Yeah, you can upgrade." Look into the line. It's like, "Yeah, you just don't have the infrastructure to support this." We're like
they
600 meters off road.
Yeah.
And every month without fail, my
just
entire teenage years was just that, and it was brutal.
Yeah, that's
painful memories.
All it took was ruining a bunch of my mother's phone calls for a few years before eventually we stepped up and got broadband.
I'm looking at Starlink at the moment, honestly.
No,
I don't want to, but it's faster speeds.
Don't do it.
It's only fast when no one's using it.
Okay.
Problem with satellites, and so if everyone starts using it, it gets real slow. One
last question.
Yes, and we have one last question here from Firehawk. Says, "What's the longest game that you've stacked?"
Stacking.
Stacking. Yeah,
Stacking.
That's a very short.
That's actually
game.
pretty hilarious.
If anybody asks me stacking, it's always just going to be stacking.
Stacking's a good game.
Double Fine make really good games.
I'm trying to think of a game. The longest game that I've stacked is probably Tales of Vesperia. It's probably one of the RPGs, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't technically stack Lost Odyssey, but I did have to replay the whole fucking thing.
Are we talking games with achievements too?
Yeah, I think for stacking.
Yeah, it would be.
Because otherwise, it'd be. Well, actually, because otherwise I would say like Final Fantasy X.
I would say Age of Empires 2 if it didn't
This
count.
is a real quick question for me, because literally I've only stacked 2 games, Lost Words and Winter's Daydream.
Winter's Daydream. So so Lost Words wins by default.
Lost Words, yeah. Lost Words is my longest stacked game.
6 hours, whatever.
I can't think of any.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna look at what my time is because it won't be accurate.
Yeah, Tales of Vesperia, I think is that's a 80 to 100 hour game at least because you got to do like you got to do like 2.5 playthroughs of it. And I did a regional stack for it, but I also have the definitive edition in my backlog as something that I could start, but I don't know if I really want to play through all that game again.
Actually, I know what one is. Sunset Overdrive.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that would have been like what 30
to 40. Yeah,
something like
that.
Yeah. Like I've said before, though, I think it was like the last podcast. I would much rather wait until I kind of forget about most of experience and then go back to it.
Okay, so what one would you go back and do now?
Sunset
You're going to go and stack now.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
You know what? Age of Empires 2. If they do a console one, which they probably won't, but it would be Age of Empires 2. Would be the most likely if they do a console edition. Other than that...
I was thinking about doing the Crisis trilogy because I know they remastered those recently, and it's like it's been a long time since I played them, but I did really enjoy them when they first came out on the 360. Other than that, there isn't really. I do always get excited when they do like HD remasters of like old games that are like even older, so like PlayStation 2 and before, that kind of stuff, because like that's the childhood that I have. But most of those times I didn't play those games enough because I wasn't smart enough, or I didn't have the understanding of how to really rinse the shit out of a video game. And now as I go back to it, I have like a kind of nostalgia, but also like more of an appreciation because I have more experience.
Yeah. Like I'm definitely gonna stack Control. Like I've been talking about that for a while. I want to wait for a little bit because when I do it on my PC, I kind of want to have a fresh start. So I don't remember things. I'm hoping at some point next year I can do it. And then I want to just play through it because I kind of did it before, playing it for the achievements.
Yeah.
And like this time around, I just want to play it. I don't want to think about the achievements because I can go back and clean all that stuff up. I just want to go and play it.
Maybe Hellblade.
Oh yeah. That's the 10
because
to 12.
That's been a good while.
Yeah, PC version. Yeah,
Hellblade or Death's Door.
Yeah, Death's Door would be a good one. I've been thinking about that as well, but it's still quite a tough game. Not like super difficult, but like definitely challenging.
It's good enough to scratch that itch, though.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't. Yeah, I feel like the umbrella, having used the umbrella for that achievement. I think like I understand why they did it for the challenge because everything takes twice as much to kill. But not being able to use the variety of weapons that you find kind of fucks the experience a little bit in a way that because like after I got the achievement, I was like, cool, I'm just going to run around play with the weapons now and actually play the game.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Anyway, we should probably get on to the news. Thank you for the questions, guys. Greatly appreciate it. Charlotte, the Game Awards nominations got announced for I think the Game Awards is in
2022. December? Yep, December. I believe it's December. It's early in December. Hang on.
Early December, yeah.
Double check the actual date. The 8th, Thursday the 8th.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's 7:30 p.m. ET.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eastern time.
Well, yeah. New Zealand. That's fine. So we have a couple that we're going to talk about. We've got one of them has decided to remove itself from that description. Cool. That's fine. Oh no, it's here. Cool. The one that we added for some reason was not on the save part. So we have Game of the Year. So the nominees were A Plague Tale: Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War: Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So what are our thoughts on that?
One of these is not like the other, and one of them does definitely not belong.
Does not belong.
How did Stray get in before Tunic?
How did Stray get in at all?
Fuck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is it even in that list?
All right, this is an easy one to tell. It's either going to be Elden Ring or God of War: Ragnarok.
Yeah. 50-50, and it will just depend on. Like the problem is that because God of War has come out more recently, it's like, is that going to be on the radar and higher
It'd be
than Elden Ring? Whereas Elden Ring probably should be at the top.
I think Elden Ring should win it because from most of the reviews, God of War Ragnarok is a great game, but it is essentially like exactly the same as 2018 again. It doesn't push anything forward, which, you know, that's fine. It can still be a great game, but Elden Ring just feels like, you know, think of the Dark Souls kind of line.
And Elden Ring was great from the get-go, right? Like, they did do some updates. Like, right? But it was good from the beginning.
Yeah, no awful
no massive issues like glitches on day one, you know. Whereas like it's interesting because I watched Dio and Mike playing The Devil in Me today, and it's glitchy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
For a day one game, it's glitchy. there have been times where there's just been like just one of them will just disappear and vanish, and there's just no person, and then like a couple of seconds later they'll come back. So the fact that you've got games that come out like that, right, and then Elden Ring comes out, and then the only changes were minor update ones, right, or changing the build slightly and taking away things, and you know, like that was it. It wasn't like, oh, this game has like massive issues and rendering and glitches, you know.
And I think that it's like Elden Ring is probably my game of the year. Again, I'm still debating a few bits and pieces here and there, but it's Elden Ring versus something else. Elden Ring is my go-to. And I think that, like, I think in terms of like deserving, I really feel like Elden Ring should get this, considering like the zeitgeist and the excitement from people who didn't give a shit about Souls games of any kind.
And then like, played it for the first time,
and then we're like, wait, this is way too hard still. But like I heard about Elden Ring from people who didn't give a shit about video games in general. And then
let's take it back 10 months. How much discourse was there about accessibility and easy modes in games? There's a whole conversation around that. Whereas in God of War, just it hasn't pushed anything forward.
186 makes a really interesting point. It's quite sad, really, that one of its positives is that it's not broken. Shows the dysfunction of the game development and publisher industries. 100%. The fact that we're so used to now having games come out and not being great on day one. It's like, when did that become the norm? Like, it was almost like Cyberpunk happened, and now we kind of just expect Cyberpunk to happen again.
I'm not sure if you used to have been following, but there's been a lot of interesting conversations around the Switch lately too. Like Pokemon. I've seen that many bugs already.
I've seen so many videos on Twitter, and I'm just like, what the hell? That's weird for Switch games. That's real weird.
Yeah, most of it's coming down to like it being undocked. Apparently it's fine like docked mode, but that Bayonetta 3 apparently had a lot of environmental issues. I think the Switch is just too old now. Like hardware perspective.
I think so. Although, I mean, you'll see here you've got Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is on this Game of the Year list. You know, like I think that.
But I've had the same conversation about that too. Like, it's a great looking game, but it's limited by the hardware it's on.
Sure, absolutely. And I mean, like, I have a resident Pokemon expert sitting behind me playing it right now. And
Scarlet or Violet?
Violet. And even she's like, this is like, it's really cool, but like it's also really, really rough.
Pokemon just going down into the world kind of thing.
Oh my god!
Or the character just falling off the face of the map.
There's
some of those videos.
There's a scene like right at the beginning, where like you go into the classroom and you see all the kids there, and they've all got this really weird canned animation that looks like so creepy, like they're marionette dolls. Like my eyes, I was so scared. But it is very, very interesting to kind of see that, because there was, we're getting a little bit off topic, but the talk was that they were going to do like a Switch Pro or whatever, and that potentially apparently was happening and then got delayed or pushed back because of chip shortages and everything else. So I'm wondering if we'll see, that come up and maybe next year.
It's like, I never really thought about it, right, with my Switch, but it was something that my flatmates realized, and I went, oh, okay, because I said that it was really hard for me to install games on it because it has a really small memory. Like the hard drive on it is so tiny. So the fact that you have to actually go out and get an external mini SD card to put in it just to give you a little bit of extra space is insane. And that, I reckon, will be a big issue with it.
Yeah. Games aren't getting any smaller.
No. And the fact you then have to rely on your SD card being a decent one to even run games off.
I mean, I'm interested to see what they do because they're going to have to compete with the Steam Deck, and Steam Deck's a wonderful bit of kit.
Yeah, although I think price point and demographic are very different for those pieces of machinery.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
at the moment, I think that, I think the Steam Deck 2 or whatever, if they eventually do with like that's more like consumer friendly, a bit more kind of,
like low brow kind of.
Or like or kind of, like a bit more easy to use, a bit simpler. Because I think the current Steam Deck is kind of cool, like a really cool thing, but it runs on Linux and it's a little bit hacky.
Yeah.
And it's still like in sort of testing phase. Not everything works on it, etc., etc.
Yeah. So our next one is actually Best Indie, which all of us love indies. We talk about them all the time, right? So this list is 5. You got Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic.
Oh,
So there's a top for me, Tunic.
It's got to be Tunic.
Okay, it's got to be Tunic.
It has to be Tunic.
Yeah.
I love Cult of the Lamb, but it has to be Tunic.
Cult of the Lamb didn't stick at a launch for me. And
they don't compete.
Yeah.
There's no competition between them. Tunic is better by far. It's like an incredible game. It's a perfect game because it has so many different elements to it. I love Tunic.
I don't know. Stray's on the list, guys.
Fucking Stray. Bring it to Xbox and then maybe I'll have an opinion on Stray.
Neon White, I'd be very interested to see how well that does.
Yeah, I've heard really good. Like I've heard, like everyone who's played it is like, this is like if you're into that sort of Mirror's Edge speedrunning kind of like craziness, it's apparently fantastic.
Like mixing that cards and FPS is such a strange formula, but apparently like works really well.
But yeah, I think it has to be Tunic. I've heard good things about Cult of the Lamb. I've seen you play it for many weeks, Charlotte, and like it looks good, but like it's
Cult
not.
of the Lamb could potentially sway it for the fact that they have a huge following.
They do.
Right? They have a huge following.
A cult-like following, you might say.
Yes, a cult-like following. I mean, surprisingly.
Okay, did Devolver publish Tunic as well?
No.
Oh, no, I didn't. Okay.
It was Finji. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
yeah, it's not.
okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Like, Cult of the Lamb have just got a fantastic social media team and they are winning Game of the Year awards. They have already won several already.
Yeah.
But in this category, in this one, I hope Tunic wins. Tunic should win. They deserve it.
Yeah, agreed.
And they deserve it. Our next one is most anticipated. So Final Fantasy.
That 15?
Is it 16?
16.
Sorry, 650. Sorry, yes.
15. 16.
Jeez,
what are you talking about?
I'm dating myself.
What is wrong with you?
16. Sorry. I forgot that we're not even getting that game yet. So who the fuck knows when?
Who gives a shit? Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Starfield, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
Death of the Queen? What?
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that.
Queen. But it is. Like,
how... I still can't believe that UK delayed it. Like, what? One day? I'll be honest, like, this most anticipated list, nothing really sticks out to me other than Resident Evil 4.
There's only one for me.
Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah.
I've come back around again.
I'm still torn.
That video pulled me back in.
Yeah.
Pulled me back in.
It looks good. It does look really good.
I'm fully expecting
character creation.
I'm fully expecting Hogwarts Legacy to be like Sonic Frontiers to me. Like, all right, I'm gonna get this because like I'm interested, but I'm not overly sold, and then I get blown away.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. For me, I'm just watching that video. I'm back. I'm hooked again. For me, it was that we hadn't had anything for a little while. And so I was like, I felt like I was not really attached to it anymore. And then I saw that video and was like, oh, I want to play this game so badly. And like, regardless of all the shitty stuff around it, right? I still want to play it because it's still my childhood.
for my 2 cents, do you want what I would like to win, or do you want what's going to win?
Both.
What do you think is going to win first of all?
Starfield is going to win this category. I'm going to tell you right
now.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm torn on that. I don't feel like there's enough hype around Starfield.
No, we're just not listening in the right places. This is the thing.
This is nuts. Starfield is huge.
Starfield is like most anticipated.
It might just be the delay for me. The delay is kind of stoked the fire.
I agree.
I still think it's going to be most anticipated though. Even with the delay, I still think they've got enough hype that it's like.
Yeah, I think that.
It just doesn't really stand up to much else.
I was thinking Hogwarts Legacy or Legend of Zelda, to be honest.
I think Legend of Zelda probably is a good one too, actually.
But I don't know about Hogwarts Legacy.
I would,
maybe.
Honestly, if I was to put money on it, I'd probably go Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Only because it's that God of War Ragnarok kind of feel of this was Legend, like what was the prior one called?
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. That was Game of the Year, yeah?
For a lot of people, yes.
Okay.
Actually, that's a very, very good point. I had not considered that, but you're a good point. I think that it could be Tears of the Kingdom. We have seen, it has been anticipated for a long time.
Is it going to have the Switch problem? Like, I can see it winning most anticipated, but is it going to have the Switch problem of, like, it's held back by the current hardware?
Yeah, okay.
I reckon you probably will have the same thing, but the thing is, it's most anticipated. It's not Game of the Year or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it will just depend on what happens when it comes out. It could be most anticipated, right?
Yeah.
And then next year it comes out and it has the same issues that Pokemon is having, and then it just goes nowhere. So then it's like, oh, okay, then it's not going to get Game of the Year.
Yeah, I think I still would put money on Starfield, just given the mass appeal and how those like Fallout and Skyrim and anything Bethesda fucking puts out it's like people just go nuts. I think Zelda definitely has the longevity of like being delayed enough and being teased enough that people are very, very excited for it. But yeah, I think it's going to be Starfield, but I could see Legend of Zelda winning it. I don't see any of those other three.
There's so many. It feels so weird for me because there's so many different arguments going in my head. Like Final Fantasy 16 would get more appeal if it wasn't just like tied down to Sony.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda, I kind of feel the hardware. Starfield, I kind of feel there's
Resident Evil 4 is like, okay, it's cool, but also
people are excited and it looks good, but it's a remake.
It's a remake.
It's the third in a series of remakes that they already did 2 and 3 already, and those have been, but
and then Hogwarts Legacy, just the stuff around Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's that because of the controversy around that. I think that brings it down, which is why I was like, okay, the only two for me would be Starfield and then Legend of Zelda, and I still think Starfield.
Yeah, like the one I'm most excited for is Hogwarts Legacy. Based on that video and everything that's been going on about it and the talk around it, it looks really fucking good.
It looks so cool. That list is hard though.
When is it again? Feb or
Feb?
Feb, yeah. It's in Feb.
God damn, so many Feb stuff.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So it looks really cool. And it doesn't look like they have a bunch of bullshit in it, which is surprising.
No, but it's just going to take a while because the list is like you have to play it as 4 different characters in 4 different houses. So you have to play in each house because you have to find specific things based on each house. So there's that, and then there's a couple of complete the relationship quest lines and things like that, and. So there's a few of those ones, but it doesn't look like there's too many big collectible ones aside from making sure that you've like found certain things. Yeah.
So the achievements potentially got leaked this week on the Epic Game Store, I think, or something. So good way to do it.
So if anyone hasn't watched that video, they should. Just purely for the character creation part, because that first part is just like, oh, it's beautiful, and the art that they've used for the characters is insane. It's like perfect. You know how like usually with games and even with like The Devil in Me, you still notice that you're like, okay, that still looks like a game design, and it's something not quite off about the characters, right?
Uncanny Valley, yes.
Hogwarts Legacy, those going through the character creation, I was like, holy shit, they look fantastic. I have not seen anything that makes me think that character does not look great. Oh my god, David.
Is the Hufflepuff slime the glue their house members have to eat? That's great.
Probably. Okay, so the next one we have is Content Creator of the Year.
Which I'll be honest, I twisted the arm and I got them to put this in.
You did. There's only one person I know who on this.
Okay,
Ludwig.
who's the person? Okay,
so there's Carl Jacobs, Ludwig, Nabillion, Nobru, and then Cutie.
You don't know Carl Jacobs? Interesting.
I don't know Carl Jacobs.
I fucking hate Carl Jacobs.
Yeah, I didn't care. For he's all right in the Mr. Beast videos. That's pretty much
okay.
So
Mr. Beast, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, his credentials are he's literally Mr. Beast's friend. That's his thing.
That's essentially it. Ludwig.
That's why I've disconnected. No.
Yeah. Ludwig out of these is probably the one I would see the most winning because I think he said he was going to stream for 5 years and then retire (quotation marks) do something else. I only brought this category up though because it was very interesting that Nabillion was on it.
Yeah.
Considering people would make the argument that he's not a content creator, he's a content curator.
Yes.
And a lot of media sources were getting games news from him first because he did it so well. God damn it. But yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to bring up with that. I just found it very interesting that a Twitter user got nominated for Content Creator of the Year. I think if he wasn't leaving the platform or hadn't left the platform, there probably wouldn't even be a conversation around that.
Yeah, you're probably not. Yeah, right. I think that it's interesting that he's kind of on this list at all, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I follow him and a few other sort of analysts and that sort of stuff on the games industry, so you get the sort of news. And it's interesting.
See, I don't think I follow any of them.
See,
not even Ludwig. I know of Ludwig, but that's it.
I listen to a few games media podcasts, and I know one of them that SkillUp's involved with. After this news broke, everybody on that podcast said that was their main source, that fed through information. It was always the first person that had those kind of details. So I don't know. I just find it very interesting, but.
Yeah, I guess that his sort of niche and the sort of niche that him and a few others fit is that kind of not necessarily breaking news stories, but looking at more like analysts' work in terms of analytics and numbers and sales numbers and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Stuff that kind of gets missed on financial reports and things like that.
Yeah. The only other one I can think of is Wario 64, but that's more of a sales hits straight hey, Amazon sale on this particular. Yeah. Anyway, best adaptation.
Cool. Yeah, best adaptation. We have Arcane, League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, The Cuphead Show, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Uncharted.
So really, I think this is a 2-horse race.
Yeah.
Between Arcane and Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk 100%.
Yep.
Outranks Arcane.
I have not seen Cyberpunk, but Arcane is one of the best pieces of animation I've ever seen in my entire life.
You need to watch Cyberpunk because I am serious. That is my favorite this year.
I think
to the point where me and Dio have watched it multiple times now, and it's amazing.
I do love Studio Trigger. They do amazing work. But
Cyberpunk took over my entire TikTok with that song for a good 3 weeks.
That is me and Dio's song.
I love that song. I haven't watched the show, but I fucking love that song.
It's a beautiful song.
Does anybody actually know that Cuphead show actually just dropped season 3?
No, I think that says everything about it.
Oh dear Lord, okay.
And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was good, but and Uncharted was apparently okay, but
I'm surprised to see Uncharted in this list.
They needed a 5th one to round it out. They're like, what came out this year?
I like Sonic. Percy loves Cuphead. But yeah, I reckon Cyberpunk Edgerunners should win this.
I think Cyberpunk will win this. Because basically, again, recency bias, because Arcane came out at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fucking Arcane was people lost it. Okay.
Watch Cyberpunk is all I'm saying. There's only one problem with Cyberpunk, and that is the ending. And there are so many people that actually no, we have our own ending. We don't agree with this ending. This is the actual true ending because it's emotional and.
All right, I'll watch it. Don't spoil it.
I'm not spoiling it, I promise.
It will make you even consider playing Cyberpunk.
Oh, 100%. I wanted to play it after watching it.
To be fair, many people said that about Arcane, and to be fair, because League of Legends is the worst game.
Yes.
Yeah.
But okay, cool.
The only other thing with it is that CD Projekt Red originally were not going to actually endorse it because of one of the characters being in the show, and Studio Trigger were like, nah, fuck you, we're doing it anyway, and they put Rebecca in, and she is one of the best characters. She's fantastic.
The lolly remains, yes.
Yes, the lolly remains. But she's an adult. She's just small.
She's small. And then last category.
Innovation and accessibility. So we have As Us Falls, God of War Ragnarok, Return to Monkey Island, The Last of Us Part 1, and The Quarry. I can talk about 2 of these.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of them being yes, except our buddy's not in it, so
no.
Wait,
yeah.
What?
David. I heard Char's most anticipated show is The Witcher season 4. Yes, but no.
That's no one's favorite. That's no one's most anticipated. The most anticipated in a bad way, and they're like,
it would have been, but also now it's just like
it's like watching a train wreck.
Is it even going to happen? I don't know.
Nah. So Return to Monkey Island is the one that I'll talk about a little bit later, but it has some fantastic accessibility options in it. I don't know that it will win out of this because probably again, God of War is in there, and who knows? I feel like people will be like God of War.
Yeah. I think God of War out of this list only because
out of that list, yes, I love Return to Monkey Island though. I'm gonna gush about it over the next few weeks. But As Us Falls, me and Matt started, and the accessibility in that is actually really great. The options.
It's not like I've been telling you to play it for like half a year.
We got there eventually.
I wasn't going to play it on my own.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, we got there eventually, right? We're doing it now for you. But I was really impressed with all the options that it had. Like, that is fantastic that it actually curates for so many different things. Yeah. And that you can like adjust the QTEs and like even the dialogue and extend timers out. Like, that was fantastic. That's really good.
Yeah, there's pages of options in there, which is really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it probably will be God of War Ragnarok. I have a lot of the talk has been around how the accessibility options are really good for that game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised The Last of Us Part 1's in there. Just because the whole discourse about like it's too soon to have a remake or remaster.
Yeah, but I mean,
The Quarry though, I haven't played The Quarry myself, but I've watched a few streamers play it. I can't really think.
I haven't seen it. I don't really know about the accessibility in terms of that because the QTEs are still the same and there's no accessibility around that. Not like As Us Falls.
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I'd be curious to see which one comes out.
As As Falls pushes stuff forward in terms of that kind of storytelling, not storytelling. Like having a group of people be able to pick options like that, play those kind of games, which is really nice. Like, I want any game that's like As Dusk Falls now to adopt that kind of like couch kind of mode, I guess.
I get the feeling it might, considering it was relatively successful, I believe. I mean, again, I don't know.
It's one of those things that you look at it and just like, why hasn't anybody else thought of this before?
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of like, hopefully now people will pick it up and be like, okay, that was what worked really well. And then be like, I really want to put that into my game.
Yeah.
Cool. That is Game Awards for 2022.
The only other thing I was going to say too, there is a best debut indie title in there.
It's all the same games.
It's all the same games as the indies.
Except for Vampire Survivors.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair.
And I just want to say it now. If Vampire Survivors does not win it, I will be fucking surprised.
Yeah, it should do. Yeah.
It's addicting.
And then I guess our next, we'll report back on when they actually get announced and what the Game Awards are. We'll probably watch it.
Also, in our Discord, I've made a channel now for Game of the Year discussion. We will do something in like, I don't know, 4 weeks.
A little bit closer to
before Christmas.
December, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the week before Christmas we do it.
We'll have our own Game of the Year with blackjack and hookers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Calendars.
No.
I mean, if there's any time of year, that's probably the best time.
Christmas, yeah.
Maybe I need to hit up Nugget and ask if they do that kind of.
Okay, moving on. So there has been some controversy about Doom Eternal, which is kind of weird considering that game came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Are we going to go into the meat and potatoes of this?
I'm just going to talk about it. I don't think that we did talk about it when it first got announced back then. But basically, Mick Gordon has kind of hit back a couple of years after this has basically come out. For those who don't know, basically the original context was there was some controversy around the soundtrack for the game. And Mick basically came out and said that, hey, look, they took my tracks without telling me. They remixed them. They fucked them all up, and then they just put them out there. They didn't. And people noticed when they were playing through the game, like, yeah, this music isn't nearly as good as the 2016 version. Also, like, it's like weirdly uncompressed or weirdly like doesn't feel like it's finished. And it turns out that like, yeah, no, it was not finished. A lot of that stuff was kind of just taken from Mick.
They promised an OST that he never agreed to.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff like that. Basically, when that happened, Marty, their showrunner, basically came out and said that, like, hey, this is the situation. This is what happened. Like, we talked to him. We got this whole thing sorted. We had an agreement. He was late on deadlines. There was all this, blah. And Mick basically didn't really respond. He's now come back with the receipts and a bunch of facts, being
an hour long, like that. What was it, like 56-minute read or something along those lines?
Yep, open letter. Yeah, and basically outlines everything that they fucked him over with and all this kind of stuff.
And the fact that he's now in court.
Well, it's like, yeah, basically, like Bethesda basically came out with a response recently, and they were like, "See you in court, motherfucker." Basically, they didn't say that, but they basically implied that, like, hey,
we stand by Marty's word. Yeah,
stand by Marty's word, and any future correspondence with this would be through the proper avenues, which is basically like, sue me, motherfucker. Yeah. Again, it's way too in depth and like minutia heavy for us to get into on the show. But if you're at all interested in this kind of conversation, go in and check it out. It's really interesting.
It's all on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's all getting like it's a big shit fight.
The other thing, there's a few other things I want to mention with this too. The OST, like I just said, was apparently promised without any what's the right word? They didn't ask anything. They
didn't consult him at all.
They didn't consult him at all. He was he wasn't paid for, I want to say like 11 months off the top of my head or something like that. He's tried to fix this with them past Doom Eternal's released, and they've offered him 6-figure sums that have always included a gag order.
Right.
Just a whole lot of like.
Yeah. Really, so obviously they realized they fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Same time though, like just based off what was her name, the voice actor for Bayonetta.
For Bayonetta.
Yeah. Kind of makes you think like,
because that on
two
top
sides
of it
of the
is
story.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so like obviously he's telling his side, they're telling their side. Though to be fair, he did like that hour-long thing is like, he does have his stuff in line as long as it's accurate. And he was very clear about being like, it's not a problem with Bethesda as a whole, but with this one individual who basically fucked him over.
Yep.
And he did he's been very clear to be like, hey, don't hate on the team, don't do any of this. Like, it's just this one person that I have this problem with who caused all these issues.
Oh, yeah. That was the other thing too. He wasn't actually getting levels to work with. So he was producing content, the levels were coming after, and then he essentially had to rewrite for those levels. Yeah. And that's why he was late on delivering for deadlines.
Yeah, and it does feel like that Doom Eternal was kind of in a bit of a... It came in a little hot. It was missing a couple of features. There was a lot of stuff that got kept. There was that whole invasion mode they got rid of and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I can't say I'm surprised. It's really unfortunate because, Doom 2016 is a fucking amazing game, and Doom Eternal, I know, got good reviews, but the sort of prevailing thought around it was that, it
wasn't a better sequel.
No, it was not. Anyway, so if you want to go check that out, we can post some links, or if you're interested, it's all over Twitter, so it's hard to miss. I'm assuming Twitter is still here by the time this episode comes out.
That's like 50-50 chance.
I'll flip a coin on that one. Cameron, do you want to quickly touch on this EU regulator thing? It's not much of a story.
Yeah, so this was more so I think just last week kind of thing.
Yeah.
Essentially the EU regulator was, going through their viewpoint of the deal and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're doing their due diligence on a probe on the Activision Xbox deal in the EU.
Yep, but Ricardo Carterson, who states that the commission is working to ensure the gamers will still be able to play Call of Duty on other platforms if Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard, put out a tweet saying the commission is working to ensure that you will still be able to play Call of Duty on other consoles, including my PlayStation.
Okay, and now, having actually read the article and read the context around it, that does sound pretty fucking bad.
Yeah.
That's not a great look. But what I will say is that the commission came out pretty quickly afterwards to be like, he's not on the committee for this. Yep. He does work within their team or within the company, but he's not on the committee.
He doesn't work on that team. They're working on that particular.
Yeah, he's not working on that thing. He not actually has any input into that. He's literally just stating his own opinion on Twitter. He's made it clear that it's his opinion.
Yep. No, sorry. That was the problem. He didn't make it was clear in the first place, but then he addressed it afterwards and linked it back to his profile that says all personal opinions are my own.
Which is, but like, I mean, pretty standard.
How bad does this read?
Not a good look. Not a good look. No, I don't think it'd have any impact on anything, but it's just kind of a not a great.
I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of thing that Microsoft could, use.
I mean, if he has no involvement in the actual ongoing probe itself,
it's still a bad look though for the
the commission. Yeah. Sure, yeah. I'm sure there's an argument there to be made, but also this isn't the first time we've seen employees of companies say stupid shit. It's like, I mean, that's what Twitter is for, basically.
You can only fit so many opinions into 280 characters.
Yeah, true.
Anyway. Yeah, God, it was one of those things that just set Twitter ablaze as well. Because everybody's just like, including my PlayStation guy. Yeah, anyway. You want to talk about Pentiment?
Yeah, basically, again, this is not really much news here so much as just kind of fluff pieces. But basically, Pentiment...
This is news.
This is not news.
News that we have already been shouting about for as long as I can remember, that Game Pass is great.
Yeah, but basically, Pentiment creators, so Obsidian, basically have come out and said that they basically wouldn't have done Pentiment, the game, if they didn't have Game Pass to put it out on. Which, looking at Pentiment, I think makes perfect sense, because when we all saw the trailer for it, we're like, what the fuck is this?
What?
You know what, though? It's getting 10 out of 10s.
Oh, yeah, people love it. It's apparently incredible. Like, I'm going to play it. Like, I've got it downloaded. I'm very, very fucking excited.
Yeah, I'm ready to play it.
I tried to start it last night, but I was still sick. I had a massive headache. And because it's not voice acted, actually having to, stare
it's one of those ones where you have to sit and actually read through it. Like... I read the description to my flatmates yesterday and they went, holy shit, that sounds freaking awesome. I went, yeah. But it wouldn't be one that I would necessarily buy. It's a perfect game for Game Pass. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's just kind of what I wanted to highlight here. And then High on Life, basically, the devs basically said the same sort of thing. And they actually did an interview with Char around it. And said that they've been having a good experience with it and allows them to kind of, expand their audience. And apparently they've been working on the game for 4 years. So because again, it did just kind of come out of nowhere. We hadn't heard anything about it beforehand.
Well, yeah. What was it, Josh Sawyer? We talked about it quite a while ago. Josh Sawyer was working on a smaller project with a team of 10 people. Yeah,
exactly. So I was like, okay, cool. Just, more of those sort of stories of seeing the positive parts of Game Pass, especially with smaller titles or small to medium-sized titles of Obsidian is not a small developer, but it means Game Pass means that they can still do smaller games. They don't have to do an Avowed or a New Vegas every fucking single time, although we'd like them to.
You know what? Obsidian is just the master of anything RPG related, though.
I mean, yeah.
Grounded is amazing. This is amazing. Grounded
is good. Grounded
is okay. Despite having get all the achievements in 5 minutes, kind of.
I mean, look.
Grounded is a fun game.
Grounded is 100% not my kind of game. But I will. People do really, really love it, so I understand.
Yeah, because you're not a social gamer.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, I just don't like survival mechanics. That's not my idea of fun. Is building a fucking house and having to guard it from spiders. No, fuck that shit.
But if I'm playing this on stream with some others, bros, getting scared by spiders, it's great.
That's fair.
You got one friend that's scared of spiders just running around in the background. Yeah, it's great.
It's streamer bait, sure.
Anyway.
Other story we've got here is that basically there's been some. Well, okay, who could have seen this coming? Dead Island 2. It got delayed. Yet again.
And guess how I found out.
Yeah, I imagine Alex was probably. But I was thinking about messaging it to Alex, but I was like, he already knows. He
would already know. Yeah,
Alex already knew in his heart. He didn't even need to see the headline. He knew that this shit wasn't coming out in February or whatever it was.
He's like, so, I can wait.
So it's been pushed back 12 weeks.
It's going to have to now.
End of April now. So, yeah, I mean, can't say I'm surprised. I'm surprised that it didn't make it into this financial year. They must really not. It must be really pretty far from being done, to be honest, if they're going to push it back that much.
Like, that's a huge delay.
Yeah, 4 months. No,
and I kind of wanted to use this to sort of talk about delays in
actually,
general.
it's not that far over. It's 8 weeks, yeah? From
12
when
weeks.
It was
12 weeks.
It's 12 weeks.
Feb to April.
End of April.
Wasn't it end of Feb?
I think it was early Feb, I think.
I think that one was, there's probably a date out there somewhere, but I thought it was.
Go on, I'm going to double check that.
Yeah, double check.
But I wanted to just kind of spit it off into a conversation a little bit about like delays in general and kind of what we think about them, because there was also a story where Phil Spencer basically was talking about how 2 of their biggest releases for this year are coming out this year. With Starfield and Redfall getting pushed into next year.
Yeah.
And how Xbox is, talking about how they potentially, release things too early. And I think, the best example of that is Halo Infinite. Definitely was not ready for mainstream.
Feb 3rd to April 28th, Embracer spoke about the delay, saying the reduced forecast for the financial year 2022. 2023 reflects a mixed reception to some of the key second quarter PC console releases, estimated to impact catalog sales in the coming quarters. Shifts in the PC console pipeline, including Dead Island 2, now planned for release April 28th. There was talk about sales and all that across the industry going down, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, basically a couple weeks ago there was not things aren't hitting their projections from last year, which is not a surprise because people are going back to work.
Yeah,
and
but it's still on an upward trajectory. It's just not meeting.
Just not hitting the same stuff as last year, which is what to be expected. I guess we sort of touched on. I guess let me put it this way: How do you feel about games when they get delayed? I just wanted to ask the question in terms of we've done this podcast for a while. We've been gamers for a while. We've talked about games. Delays have been a big part of the conversation over the last couple of years. Have you guys found that it's impacted your excitement for a game leading up to it and potentially your enjoyment of a game when you get it? I mean, Charlotte, for you, I imagine
delays. Yeah. I mean, just look at good example is look at Hogwarts Legacy with me, because what happened when I knew it was going to be delayed and I knew that we weren't getting a date until next year, I was like, okay, cool, and just was not interested. And then they gave me that new gameplay video, and I'm like, okay, right, now I'm getting excited. If they suddenly now delay it again, I'll be like, no, I'm done. I'm over it. I'd be completely just out. But I get why things have to be delayed, but because it's already been delayed a couple of times and they keep trying to hype it up and then it loses traction. Like, you're going to just lose a lot of traction if you keep doing that. I think it's great to give yourself a lot more time, and that they are actually making sure that they have like a game that's not necessarily fully broken on release, right? But you still need to actually maintain that hype. Right? Like that, and it's that most anticipated, right? And if they're gonna keep, even though Starfield keeps getting delayed as well, it's still super anticipated. It's interesting how they keep that balance. Like, I wonder at what point are they gonna lose that?
Yeah.
So this is the formula that you do to maintain hype. You see a release date. You apply 3 to 6 months to it in your head mentally. That's the true release date. That's
anything
when
anything short of that is a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like half of a joke answer, but kind of not. The only thing at the moment that I'm kind of bummed about getting delayed is GoldenEye. Because GoldenEye is one of those games that should have released already, but you could just tell in the background it's because of the Ukraine-Russia war. It's because of politics. Which
Yeah.
I don't think should be a reason, but other than knowing an actual... I don't think it will be a technical issue. That's
Well, we don't technically know that.
We don't
we
know.
don't.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we saw it back in January 1st of this year was when we saw the achievement list. Yeah.
I mean, yes. Well, not officially, but like
the fact that we haven't got a release date yet.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me seem like a bit sus.
Yeah.
Saying that, like, I've had plenty of other games that I was really excited for this year get delayed, like Stalker 2, Atomic Heart. I'm not really fussed. Like, we've got that much... This is a good thing about Game Pass. You've got so much choice that if a game gets delayed, it's like, all right, cool, I can play that in, like, 6 months' time. I'm not really that fussed. Like, Pentiment, I'll play.
Yeah.
Like, I'll switch my... Like, I'm all about playing games now, not worrying about what's going to happen in, like, 6 months' time.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that's part of the problem with announcing release date for a game at all, or announcing a game in general, is that like
maybe just don't announce things until you actually have a certain.
The other thing too is Bethesda. It's interesting how Microsoft's relationship's working with Bethesda, because Bethesda always had that kind of, we're going to announce and it's going to be out in the next 6 months.
It'll be out this year, basically.
Whereas in now that the acquisitions happened, Redfall and Starfield's got announced how long ago now?
Well, Starfield was a long time ago. They announced that at the same time as...
And Redfall's been like at least 2 years now. At least.
But I mean, usually it's usually in the same like year.
Well, Bethesda, in terms of like Bethesda Studios, yes. Arcane stuff is a bit...
I mean, yeah. Sorry, I'm applying just Bethesda in terms of...
Yeah.
I guess Starfield, is what I mean more. So Redfall would be a different story.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, I tend to agree. Like, I'd rather have the games be not... I'm fine with delays as a concept. As a marketer and a marketing tool when trying to manage it as a business, I understand why that's very fucking frustrating. I also am not a huge fan of... Because the other thing is that like delays aren't always just for polish, right? Delays are sometimes for like High on Life was like, hey, we were going to release up against Modern Warfare 2, but we were like, no, just fucking push it. Don't release the same as Modern Warfare 2. No one's going to play this game.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that as such. But it is frustrating. But I don't tend to play a lot of new releases most of the time. I mean, I have been better about it now that a lot of stuff comes to Game Pass. Actually, I played a new release this week, so what am I fucking talking about? But I am like I'm always curious. Like I'm a pessimist anyway, so I'm like, I don't believe any game's ever going to come out until it comes out. Until it's sitting on my download list and I can play it, it might as well not exist. Having said that, I am quite excited for Hogwarts Legacy, but
I get my hopes up.
Yeah,
but because if they give me a day, I want that day.
Yeah.
I don't want to then be like, oh, okay, it's not that day. Because that's how I felt when they changed it last time. And I was like, when are we getting a date? When are we getting a date? Because they said 2022, right?
They said, it
was meant to be start of this year.
Actually, that was the other thing too. Like back, I guess more so like in my younger years, I would take time off work as well.
See, I never did that.
Oh, I mean, it depends on what kind of release, but like, I might take I know for Advanced Warfare, I took like 2 or 3 days off to play that. That wasn't worth it.
No, definitely not.
Anyway,
I mean, I like that game for the most part, but like, no, it's definitely not worth that.
Yeah.
No, I think again, I'm dating myself here a little bit, but like a Halo Reach, I think was the one time where I was like, I took a day off school, but that was pretty much it.
Remember Midnight Launches?
I do. That was one of the last ones I went to. Yeah. I picked the game up at midnight and I played it till 5 a.m. and I was so shattered that I was like, hey, I can't go to school today. I am literally like dying here.
Yeah.
And you continued that tradition on to your 30s.
Yep. Not much has changed. I just don't go out. I just don't need to leave the house anymore. All right. Anything else or we want to move on?
Nothing really else to say there.
Yeah, cool. No, I'm good.
All right. I'll just say this: Xbox. So Phil Spencer wants Call of Duty to follow the Minecraft model on PlayStation. Same thing they've been saying basically is like they're actually looking at maybe doing some sort of extended deal where they ensure that it doesn't get removed from the console, because if that's going to be the sticking point for the EU Commission, I imagine they probably want to get out there and say, oh, no, we will guarantee that it stays on in the same way.
I am happy with PlayStation players paying $60 US for me to be able to play my $15 a month subscription and play Call of Duty Day 1 on Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's how it should work, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it there. Again, I'm
and if they have an issue with that, then they save their money by buying an Xbox.
Exactly.
The only reason I put this in here, it's just interesting to see how Microsoft is trying to kind of defend themselves a little bit against this probe, because obviously the probe has gone to like a second stage or whatever in terms of like the way that they're investigating, which is probably more than Microsoft was expecting. So I imagine there's probably going to be a little bit of damage control, a little bit of trying to ease that around and try to make some, maybe there might be some deals that happen to kind of, smooth things along. I just put one in here that Crystal Dynamics receives a huge fan response from the Legacy of Kain series survey that they did, which I filled out. I'm one of the people on that. I
saw this and I'm just like, God damn.
Not surprised.
Matt's trying to make Legacy of Kain happen.
Legacy of Kain needs to fucking happen.
He's the only person trying to get Legacy of Kain back.
Okay, as someone who has done surveys and market research stuff, it's really interesting to see. Like, it was a long survey, so I'm surprised that they managed to get so many responses. But they said they commented on the massive response in a recent interview, saying that they typically get between 1,000 and 3,000 responses to these things. They got over 100,000 to this.
Wow.
73,000 of which completed the survey in full. Again, I'm one of them. So they're like, we hear you loud and clear. We're going to do something with this series, because clearly people are fucking dying for something in those days. That's literally all there is to the story. We don't know what they're going to be doing. Going through the survey, they asked questions around like, would you want a re-release? Do you want like a remaster? Do you want like a collection? Do you want like a remake? Or do you want like a brand new game? And I was like, all of the above. But I was like, at this stage, you probably want to do like a remaster of like maybe the first few games, because it's been so long that most people haven't played them. Especially the first one, because the first one is actually like a Diablo clone, like a top-down Diablo clone. It's very different from the rest of the series. And it's also like came out like 93 and plays really badly on modern PCs. So like I would love for them to do like a collection of like they remake that and Blood Omen and Soul Reaver 1 and 2 and then Defiance or something along those lines. Because they definitely, and they were like, oh, should we put like a recap? Like if we do a new game, should we put like an extended recap like for the other games? And I was like, yes. Do you understand how complex these games are? People haven't played them since like 2001. Yes, you need to have a recap. It's been over 20 years. But yes, I'm just excited. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. I will be buying one of those games day one if they do a re-release or a remaster or whatever they do. Cameron, you have the last story here.
Yeah. So Electronic Arts back in 2021 acquired Codemasters, which also included the Project Cars series, which EA has confirmed that they will be closing down. So take that, community manager who was rude about me asking one question. But this kind of like, this sucks in terms of like, racing simulation games going down. I don't really have that much love for the Project Cars series, but it was like all right in terms of like racing simulation goes. However, Dirt is also along that as well, being shut down, which kind of sucks because I feel like Dirt was a lot more favorable and a much better racing game. But I thought they were keeping Grid up.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Grid.
I don't know.
As far as I was aware, Grid and Need for Speed were going to be the ones that were going to be concentrating on moving forward.
Apparently, they're going to be moving people onto those teams, basically, like the new Need for Speed, which looks terrible, by the way.
Well, you lost me at Cars, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fun fact, while I was looking this up, did you know that Slightly Mad Studios, that own the Project Cars IP, were going to do a video game console?
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
They couldn't get investors.
Well, okay, that does not surprise me.
Yeah. Anyway, not much to say about this other than this was essentially just added in here to remind Cobra Todd and Kyo to finish off the Project Cars games with me. Thanks, guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And that's it for the news. Also, buy Need for Speed games.
No, don't. They haven't been good for a long time. All right, Game Pass.
Yes. That's the thing I remember to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to what we've been playing.
All right, we can catch up on Game Pass.
We'll circle back to it, yeah. I'll just quickly touch on what I've been playing. So I finished up Persona 5 like the minute after we finished the podcast a couple weeks ago. You know when I was like, hey, I'm at the final boss? I was not at the final boss. I was like, yeah, definitely the final boss. No, not the final boss.
Then he realized there was another 20 to 30 hours of content.
There was not quite that much left. No, there was a very much bigger final boss, and then there was the new content for Royal, which was good. I love that game. I mean, I'm probably going to put it on my Game of the Year list. I don't know if it technically counts because it's an older game, but whatever. It'll be on my list, but I wouldn't put it in the running for like a Hogs.
It counts towards Xbox.
Yeah.
So
not as an actual Game of the Year.
So it would probably be like my Game of the Year. Maybe it'll be my list personally, but I wouldn't put it
asterisks.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it on like the Hogs Game of the Year, for example. I don't think that's.
It's your Game of the Year that you've played this year.
Yeah, I mean it did get released this year.
I mean it did get released. I'll let that pass. That's fine.
But yeah, so fantastic game. My real only problem with it is that the last the expansion stuff is like an extra. You know, the game traditionally ends in December, so they add like a January to the beginning of February kind of extra chapter for the expansion. And so you get some new stuff with that, but of course you only get to use that for that very short time, and then the game's over. And so it's like it really felt like all these cool new features that none of which it's like you get like 13 days worth to use it for, which is a bit of a shame. But I guess New Game Plus maybe changes that up a little bit. I don't know, but had a great time with it. Highly recommend it. Anyone who's even mildly interested in those kinds of games needs to pick it up and play it. It's on Game Pass. Do it. One of the best. It might be like my second favorite RPG of all time. It's up there. It's very, very fucking good. Also played through Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Did the campaign for that. Did it on Veteran. Did my run through and cleaned it up afterwards. Great fucking game. They've knocked it out of the park again. It's
that
really,
the point
really...
where you don't think it's even a game? It's like a game movie.
Yeah, like it's the story was good. The voice acting's good. The action's great. The variety in the levels was really nice. They have the big bombast stuff. They have the car chase bit. They have the all the staples of what you'd expect. Like it is very much like what it says on the tin. But it's fucking good. It's really it's really nice. Like the thing that I liked about Call of Duty and I miss about playing it is that like it's really nice to have like a solid, high budget, high quality campaign first person shooter where the guns feel good, the gunplay feels good, the voice acting is good, it looks great, like it just ticks all the boxes. I don't think it's going to be on many people's like Game of the Year list or anything like that, because I think there's much more interesting games out there that people should be like getting into. But it's a solid fucking game. Like it is a solid 9 out of 10. Great experience. Cameron and I started doing the co-op, so we'll sort of clean that up over the next couple of weeks probably.
Yeah, it's you haven't played Cold War yet, have you?
No. This is the first time I've played since the last Modern Warfare.
Yeah, because like the first Modern Warfare, the 2019 one was amazing, but ever since Cold War, they've kind of shifted away from doing that campaign is always first person kind of thing and swapped into like, no, you're a specialist kind of role. Like you can sneak in, grab intel. Like there's more diversity in the missions, which is really cool. That wet work one.
It's really good.
Just like just stuff like that. But
I've put like 10 hours into it. The campaign's not very long, but it's highly recommended. I've also been playing as kind of like I finished Persona. I was thinking about what I wanted to work on next in Game Pass. And I started Scarlet Nexus, which is what I wrote my Song of the Week about, because man, that game's fucking boring. I know people loved it. I don't get it. It's anime as fuck, and I like anime shit. It's really boring. There's so many cutscenes and conversations and about shit that I just don't care about. The characters are really, really... I might have done it the wrong way because you can play as two characters. I picked the chick first instead of the guy, but apparently you should play the guy first. But
I think the guy's got the better story when Kyle played it.
Well, Kyle said that, yeah. He was like, Kyle said the guy had the better story, but then maybe if you do like him second, it'll make you feel better, really.
I don't know. We'll see. There's like 12 chapters per game. Sorry, because you need to play through both of them. So I'm on chapter 9 of my first playthrough, and just the combat is okay, but it's kind of it's a little bit shallow. The enemies are like kind of spongy, like they don't react a lot when you hit them in some cases. I don't quite have the timing on the combat quite right. I feel like I can't decide whether it's a slow and methodical brawler or whether it's a more like fast action game like what am I thinking of? Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, right? You're being invaded.
You may have to mute every time that the thunder goes. Jeez.
Wow, that was loud.
Even I heard that. Fuck.
I just put a message in our group chat being like,
yeah.
FYI, there's a lot of lightning outside because the light just flickered.
That was fucking loud.
Wow. Sorry.
It's okay. You won't know when it's happening, so it's fine.
Or you have to count. So I think so it's like it has a thing where it's like you have like you could do like a bunch of attacks and like knock them up into the air, and then you can change abilities. So basically, it's like when you have party members, you can hold a button and change to their power. So it's like if you have someone who can turn invisible, you can turn yourself invisible and do sneak attacks, or you can do like lightning to like electrify your attacks, or you can duplicate yourself. So when you do attacks, it's more than one person attacking, and it's kind of cool and interesting. And there's kind of various combos you can do. But the enemies don't really seem to react a lot of the time to those combos, or you just kind of get swarmed from a lot of directions. Like the camera controls aren't very good. And like when you're in an attack, like you commit to the attack. So it's like a lot of like quite slow attacks, or it's like when you press go into a combo, you can't break out of that combo or dash out of it or anything. It might get better as I go on. Again, like I'll need to I'm still leveling up and learning abilities, but it just hasn't really grabbed me. And it's been a bit of a slog, unfortunately. I also the new release I played Somerville, which I was quite excited about, from Jump Ship, from the ex founder of the Limbo guys.
Because they
Jump Ship, it's very on the nose. So it's a similar sort of game in that vein of it's more like Inside, so it's not quite a side scroller, but like a more of a narrative adventure where you're kind of wandering around solving puzzles with alien stuff. No dialogue in the game, very up for interpretation. Story's bad. Story's not. It's all very like, okay, starts off like very clear and then kind of gets towards the end. It's like it gets quite more cerebral and kind of like, again, things that really should have dialogue and explanations can't really be conveyed by images in a way that works well.
The story was the War of the Worlds we made along the way.
Basically, yes. I mean, like it is it like starts off as like War of the Worlds. Man tries to find his family after a horrific alien attack, right?
Yeah.
And like environmentally, it looks amazing. Puzzle-wise, I quite enjoyed it. But like story-wise and like the ending and like kind of like what the fuck is happening towards the end, I don't fucking know. I feel like I read the TA review and they gave it a 6 out of 10, which I think is maybe a little bit harsh, but probably not too far from what I'd give it. Basically being like
7,
maybe a 7, yes, but 6.57. Like it is like there's nothing wrong with the game. Like mechanically, like there's no combat. Like it's very difficult to die. There's most of it's to like figure out puzzles and run away from stuff and kind of explore. I just kind of wish it was a bit like Inside also had the thing where it was very unclear from the beginning. Like it was like very symbolism all the way through. Whereas this kind of transitions into it in a way that kind of like feels like it jumps the shark at the end. I mean, it's short. It's like took me like 3.5 hours to finish. There are like 10 collectibles and there's a couple of like miscellaneous achievements, but there's a really good chapter select. It has a bunch of endings, but you can all just do it from the end. You make decisions. The way the endings work also is kind of confusing. But yeah, it's fine. It's like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It's like, if you're looking for a short, interesting experience, go for it. I'd love to talk about it with some people. And then the last one is Warhammer 40k Battle Sector, which is leaving Game Pass. It's tactical, turn-based, turn-based tactics strategy game where you basically put your units on the grid, move them on the grid, shoot the Tyranids as Space Marines. I was hoping that it was a bit more XCOM. It's like XCOM does the thing of simplifying things down in a way that makes them like really accessible and still challenging, but in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. This game very, very closely replicates the tabletop experience of like, okay, you have these types of units, you can place them on this grid, they have this amount of movement, and here's all the things of like, okay, here's all the stats of this unit, and it's like, okay, you want to shoot this guy, you have an armor penetration of 3, this guy has an armor penetration of 9, which means that like 6 of your damage will basically be nullified. He's also standing on an incline. He's also got 3 other guys between him. He has full cover from this. Like, it's really overwhelming in a way that's kind of like, whew. And like, thankfully, I have some experience with that kind of stuff, so I kind of get it. Like, so you understand like attacks of opportunity, and like if you played any kind of tabletop game in general, you probably understand it a bit better in terms of like the minutia of the numbers. But it is quite a lot. I'm playing it on the easiest difficulty because you can, and I've beaten the first sort of 4 or 5 levels, and like I'm enjoying it for the most part. But it is like I have the thing where it's like you have a lot of choice of like, hey, what units do you want to bring on this mission? And you're like, I have no fucking idea what I'm going to encounter. How do I know what units to bring? So I've been trying to find there are very few guides for this, where I'm kind of been like, okay, well, I'm going to go with like a mix of units. And I don't always feel like I'm like optimizing in the right way to be like, okay, there's going to be a bunch of like big heavy enemies, so I need enemies that have high armor penetration, but like target one enemy instead of multiple. But like, I think it's like a really cool game. I know a lot of like, I think like Brad liked it, and a few other people I know like big into those sort of tactics games were into it. I know other people are playing it. Like I know like Dio is playing it, and Firehawk are playing it. So I'm curious to kind of hear what their thoughts are on it, and if they're having as much fun as I am. But anyway, that's me for this week. I obviously played a few other bits and pieces, but like, Deer Simulator and like Space Warlord Organ Training Simulator. But yeah, we've already talked about those. There's not really much to say.
Okay, but did you like it? Because like,
Space Warlord, yeah, it was okay. I realize I'm not very good at those kinds of games. It was, yeah, it kind of felt a bit grindy. I'm getting those like you need to get to a certain level to get the intestines, and I was like,
yeah. That was my only argument about it, but it was like it would have made it too short, I think, if you didn't have that little bit of the grindy.
But I kind of like the idea. I like the accessibility in it too, being able to turn down the stuff because it gets very very quick. But yeah, it's like for a game, it was very very interesting. I haven't played anything like it before, so I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And Deer Simulator was a fucking mess.
Wait, you didn't like Truckgun?
I did not
like you into a deer.
No, I skipped all the cutscenes. Charlotte, what about you?
I am still like on my slump. So I've played a grand total of 2 games this week.
Wow, 2 games.
I know, 2. Good news though, I've gone back to my normal job, so I'm now no longer in like my team leader role. So I actually might have some more time and energy to play games again. Holy shit. So first off, I started Monkey Island, and like this was one of the ones I've been waiting for all year. Like I've been waiting for this game, and it has not disappointed me yet. I'm only through the first little bit, so I'm up to the 2nd chapter, I think. So like the story is really cool because I think people thought that it was going to be like a continuation from the previous one. I don't think it kind of is, but it's Guybrush talking to his son and telling the story about returning to Monkey Island. So you have these narrated bits that will come back to the old Guybrush talking to the kid Guybrush, and you're like, something's really weird here. So there is something else going on in that part of the story, because it does start off as if it is a continuation from the last one. Right. But it's Guybrush telling a story. So you're then playing the game as if you're walking through the story being retold. And there's a couple of achievements that go through, and each chapter has like its own achievements that you have to get while within the chapters. The save mechanic is very, very good though. You can save at any point and reload any point. So, and the achievements will cross across the saves.
Oh, good. Right.
So for getting there's one achievement where you have to get the 4 different broom types. So there's 4 different types of mop head that you can turn your like mop into. And so what I just did was I ran through the story to the part where you get conscripted into the crew, and I then saved it right before where I had the option of changing my mop head. So I then just reloaded, changed the mop head, went back through it again, go back, reload, do the next mop head, and once you get all 4, you're done.
Right.
It pops the achievement. Yeah. So like that is fantastic. The fact that it does not, you don't have to replay the whole entire game. You can, if you save it right, it's perfect. And it actually tells you how to do that at the start. So when you're going through the prologue, it actually has a mechanic of teaching you how to do the saves. So it will be like, it does a little section where you're doing a wishing well as kids, and you throw the coin in and you get to choose the different options. And it actually tells you right before you throw the first coin in, save here. So you save, you're like, okay, cool. And then you throw the coin in, and then it goes, okay, now load. And you go back and load the save, and you just throw the coin in again and do a different option. So it actually tells you how to do it. And it's already setting you up to do that for the rest of the game, right? They also had in the prelude, you go to the end of it, and like if you haven't finished all of the quest lines, he was like, oh, you haven't finished yet. You sure you want to continue? Because you can't go back if you go forward.
Right.
And so it actually prompts you to not go ahead just yet. There are ways to do it so that you're like not necessarily completing all of the tasks, but you do have certain ones that you're going to have to complete anyway to get your mop heads and then to get onto the ship. So for the most part, you can actually get away with not necessarily doing everything, but I actually enjoy it. I'm clicking on everything and doing all of the dialogue and listening to all of the stories, because actually there is an achievement for doing that within the first chapter. I'll need to go back to it in chapter 4 because there's a couple of characters that I just haven't got the character. It hasn't popped it yet, so I'm not sure which character I haven't spoken to. Because you have to tell every single, there's like 14 different characters you have to tell that you like, I want to go back to Monkey Island. I'm going back to Monkey Island. Like, and tell them about the secret of Monkey Island. So I'm trying to work out who I've missed. But most of the achievements are pretty straightforward. They're not hard. The only annoying one that I've noticed people commenting about on Twitter is the trivia cards. So there is apparently a delay in when they will spawn. And because you have to get a certain number of them completed and answered correctly, that potentially will be a little bit of a pain point because they only spawn so long. But I play the game so slow that it's going to be fine for me. Like, as soon as I see a card, I just click on it and add it into the inventory, and it's fine. I think you have to get up to like 50. I think there's a grand total of like 80 cards total.
Oh, okay, right.
Maybe?
That is quite a lot.
There's a lot of cards. Yeah. But Welsh has got a guide out now, and he discovered that you actually do need to play it from the start in hard mode. But it seems to be pretty good. If you start a save in hard mode, you can just resave it in spots, and it stays that way. I'm
apparently not allowed to play it until you finish it. Anyway,
no, because you play games way too fast. You have too much time on your hands, and I don't have enough. So
what you're saying is I need to complete it before Charlotte does.
Apparently.
Please don't. I don't want it to be spoiled. Matt always like, he's like talks about it, and I'm like, can I be the one to talk about a game for once?
I'll whatever. That's fine.
You can play it. It's fine. Hard mode only just makes the puzzles a little bit more difficult, but literally there is a walkthrough and video guides and everything out there. Like, it won't make it that much harder, and it's not that much harder.
4 hours with Welch's?
I think so. Yeah, his video is 4 hours. It's going to take me a lot longer because I'm just doing everything anyway and just exploring.
Well, we want you to find the actual. I don't think.
I want to find a secret.
Yeah, Welsh's guide isn't going to tell us the secret. It's just going to give us the achievements. I want the secret.
I want the secret. I'll find that secret. Okay, I promise.
Okay, cool.
And the other game,
please.
By next episode. Jeez.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. All right. The other game that I started with Matt on Wednesday was As Dusk Falls. It's an interesting game. Although I did find that I was getting a little bit bored because I was like, can the story keep going? Can we go?
I did have to be like, hey, Charlotte, press the button.
Yeah, because I was zoning out a little bit. So that tells you a little bit because, like, my ADHD can only handle so much at a time. So, but the second chapter was better.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly the first was just a little bit slow.
First one, so I found it really hard to,
and I found it a little bit hard to engage with it a little bit more. But art style was really interesting. It's really cool. I do like the art style of the game. It was fun working out what we were going to do between me and Matt, and like
we tend to be on the same page. We found out on a lot of things.
Yeah,
especially.
What's the point of having an override mechanic if you can't use it anyway?
I know,
a lot of time we were like, you know what? No, fuck this person. Like, no.
Yeah, and then a couple. So I think there were only like 2 times that we didn't.
Yeah.
And then it would randomize, and you'd end up winning. I'd be okay.
I won both
so
times,
my decision is not important here. That's
why
fine.
you have
whatever.
overrides.
To be fair though, the decisions were to the exploring things decision, and we ended up doing both of them anyway.
Yeah, so that is true. So we will end up going back through it again. Enjoying it.
So you've done 2 chapters so far.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Probably not one I'll do on stream again.
Yeah.
Just because I found it a little bit slow, and so I found like I wasn't like talking to people in chat, and I'm used to communicating more with my chat than I am, and so I found it a little bit harder to focus. So I think I'd probably stick with more games like Cult of the Lamb and things like that on my stream because I find they're better. But I enjoyed it, and I like the fact that there is the broadcast mode, and you can have people join in by phone and that kind of thing. That's quite cool. Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting to see the rest of the story and see where it goes.
Yeah, and then we can do some cleanup on. Well, I think we're just going to do one playthrough, try to get as many achievements as we can, and then do the cleanup afterwards.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's way to do it.
And then Cameron.
I'm very curious to whether they do more, like past the story, because it kind of it leaves it in such a way that could be a continuation.
I get the feeling just from what I've seen is that like it's the kind of thing where with all the decisions and all that kind of stuff in there, it would make more sense for them to do another game in the same universe, maybe, or like something tangentially related to it.
I don't know. I just feel like they could do like one DLC for another chapter. But...
Yeah, or you could repurpose it and do a new story.
Yeah,
like that. I mean, like it would be tough to do because you have to do all the artwork and a new story. But like you look at like The Devil in Me and Man of Medan and that kind of thing. You could just do the same thing again. It's the same gameplay, right? It's like how we would love to have another 12 minutes, but with a better story.
Yeah,
like
right?
A story
because the gameplay
that doesn't
is
involve
so
incest.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Like imagine having that game again, but with a better story or different story. Like that would be good. I'd do it. Play it.
I will ask before I do my games. Did you gel with any of the characters?
Not particularly.
Didn't really care. Okay.
No, and I think that's probably my issue at the moment is that I kind of like, aside from the guy,
Jay.
Yeah, I like with their storyline.
The kid,
I preferred
the kid?
No. Yeah, like him, but no, the guy.
The main guy, the family guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I didn't like the wife.
I feel like
I'm annoyed at the wife right now. I'm like, the wife can fuck off.
It's been so long. I can't remember his name, but him and Jay were the most interesting characters.
Vince, to me, they're my two.
Well, yeah,
but they're the main characters.
They're the ones you play as. You make the decisions for. So obviously they have to be, right? Everyone else. I still
think something is weird about the grandfather. Something is up with him because the other dude recognized him, and I want to know more about that.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm very curious. I am like excited to play more of it, and when we get. To
we'll do a spoiler cast after we've done it.
For a spoiler cast.
Yeah, we'll do
it after we've finished.
That sounds good. Cameron, what have you been playing?
All right. Vampire Survivors is the best game of the year.
I'm gonna play
it. It's honestly, all right.
Yeah.
I have a lot to talk about with these 4 games. Actually, I'll skip Vampire Survivors a moment. Went back and did Halo Infinite with Newbie and Dom. Did on stream. We did the 14 missions under 8 hours achievement on easy, but did a whole bunch of the newer stuff as well, which was pretty fun. Dom, being the absolute psycho he is, just knows all the skips and all that. So essentially, we just upgraded Grapple Hook, and we're just having fun with that. It was pretty good. We did a few multiplayer matches early in the week. the rotation of the social stuff's actually pretty good at the moment, but it feels like it's still the same old maps that I was already familiar with. And I haven't touched Forge yet, but I do plan to. All right, going back to it. Vampire Survivors, 140 achievements. I have 11 left.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm apparently spent 60 hours on it. Accurately, I'd probably say like 30 to 40. It's essentially half an hour runs that you do. You won't get half an hour in your first run unless you're like really, really good. But it's learning the weapon combinations of particular weapon has a particular accessory and upgrades into an upgraded form. And just finding out what works best for that. Garlic and Red Heart is absolute, I wouldn't say a must, but that's going to start you off for a strong run every single time. The only achievements I need left are like completing this particularly hard level, getting to half an hour on that and getting a relic, and then essentially going through a few miscellaneous tasks, getting endless modes and that kind of stuff done. But, it's just a really solid gameplay loop where you're auto-battling with these particular items and you're just roaming around the map. Nothing more than that. Very much a pick up, do one run a day kind of game. But you're like, honestly, it's not one run a day. You'll be like, oh yeah, one more run. Oh yeah, I've got like another half an hour I can squeeze in and one more run. But yeah, perfect like that. Evolved Garlic and Bible. I like Laurel upgraded, Garlic upgraded. There's a few other ones. Like, everything's relatively balanced. It's just Garlic's OP because it's got that area effect. All right. Now, the two games I really, really want to talk about. I'll let you pick which one you want to hear about first. Sonic Frontiers or Goat Simulator 3?
Tell me about Goat Sim 3 because I want to get out of the way.
Yeah, I know about Goat Sim.
Okay. So PlayOn so graciously gifted the podcaster code for Goat Sim, as well as the Xbox cast. So me and Lee started playing this morning.
Yeah.
You start on the back of a like a cart in a tractor, and it's like you're finally awake.
Oh no. Oh, are they doing? I mean, like, to be fair, Goat Sim doing dead memes is very much on brand.
Yes.
So they did the Skyrim thing.
So they did the whole beginning was Skyrim. Okay, so Lee was so I think they haven't flicked the switch on this to go live yet because the Xbox achievements haven't gone technically live. They still pop, but it's got that this game doesn't support achievements message. Lee couldn't actually stream the game. Because he was doing Twitch streaming, I wonder if that has a factor. Like, they haven't done something on the backside. Anyway, so we just, like, playing my profile. That whole starting scene is, like, Skyrim start. I can't remember. Did you have the Skyrim kind of towers in the first one? It's been so long since I've played Goat Sim.
No?
All right, so you've got, like, goat towers kind of thing, which, which are like sessions of the map that you unlock after like synchronizing with your other goat buddy, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. There's only 6 of them, so it's fine. Like it's probably like 3 times the size of the original, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so this whole cutscene cuts out like, oh, like you're finally awake. Just like, oh, I'm going to take you back to the farm, yada, yada, yada. And then the whole time, there's farmers just running over people in front of him. Just so stupid. There's a lot of that kind of humor in the game, though. Like, a lot of meme humor, a lot of... Like, they've balanced that janky feeling of the first Goat Sim with, like, a polished kind of feeling.
It's been a long time.
It's hard to it's hard to explain. You can lick things, you can, can bar things. Just like there's a whole lot of meme content. Gameplay is pretty solid. And then Lee and me were just going around like headbutting things and causing. It's one of those games that like it's so fun that you're kind of like, okay, I know this isn't game of the year for me, but it's like it's the GOAT. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing how it plays. I love everything that they've done. I love the humor of the team. I love the quest line so far. Nothing's felt like tedious or anything.
Okay.
The only achievement that I think will take a little bit of a while is finding all the trinkets, which there seems to be like, I think it's like a destroy all humans kind of thing, Matt. So there's quite a few. Other than that, yeah, absolutely fun as, and probably one of those games that's going to be better if you can get 4 people together. But just doing co-op was pretty good as well.
Okay,
Cool.
I'm definitely going to check it out because I enjoyed Godsum. I've stacked it. I've done it a few times. It does, the joke does get old pretty quickly, but it is still,
I think it's hilarious.
Like we unlocked all the towers in 2.5 hours, and we had got There's like 7 state. There's like this goat castle you have inside the towers as well, which everything unlocks, and then you have like special headsets you get. Like there was a VR headset that just played in first person mode for 5 minutes.
Amazing.
And it was the most painful experience that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And the stream was just like, has the 5 minutes passed yet? Like, please don't do this to us again.
Oh my God.
There's Karen Mast that seems like as if they were taken out of We Happy Few. That kind of face over, but they shoot lasers. So I think it was meant to be like a Destroy All Humans kind of reference as well in there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You don't just have to play as a goat. You can play as a shark. You can play as a giraffe.
God.
You can play as a goldfish. There's a few different options. I don't think there's any Flappy Goat in this one, fortunately.
Thankfully.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a great game. Highly recommend. Now, the one that I know I'm going to get so much criticism for, I actually really fucking enjoyed Sonic Frontiers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sell me on it. Here we go.
Go for it.
Rare is it that I sit down and play a game continuously till the completion occurs.
To be fair, yes, seeing you have completed it did make me raise an eyebrow and go, okay, maybe I should check this out.
All right. We're going to have to put things into 2 different camps here. There's the good things and then the really fucking bad things. Should I do the good things or the really fucking bad things?
Start with the good stuff.
Right. No, always start with the bad stuff and then go to the good stuff. End on a good note.
I have never seen worse popping in a game.
Mate, you haven't played Pokemon.
No, none of the new ones, sorry.
Yeah, fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad pop in the environment. Okay. Depending on where you are, you've got like open zone worlds, which is your open world kind of aspect, yeah? Mm-hmm. It's dull, it's grey, it's devoid of life. It needs color.
Okay.
You have portals that you open from cogs. So like these open world areas, there's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do. You can defeat enemies, you can solve puzzles, you can just go around doing collectibles. You can even spin around in a circle with this kind of like Y move, and every 5 or so turns, it will just sprout out one of the collectibles that you need, kind of thing. If you're feeling really lazy. I didn't do that too much. I didn't do that too much. I did do it. There are these night sections in the game as well. That it's kind of like just annoying waiting for night. That was the only thing that like really griped my gears. But I'll just spin in circles and just get some of the collectibles up.
That was pretty fun,
God.
Yeah.
So that was pretty bad, yeah. The level design, like with the pop in, there's these just like grey boxes above you, kind of thing, rails that don't really fit into the level.
Right.
This is the perfect template for a future Sonic 3D game.
Right. Okay.
Because if they can get like the gameplay is fantastic. Everything feels like the only thing that holds you back in the gameplay is they have pop-in stuff of like, okay, I don't actually know where I need to go because something hasn't popped in yet. But like in terms of the first level, there's barely any of that. Everything runs smoothly and it's fantastic. The boss battles are fucking amazing. Like it's supersonic. You've collected all the Chaos Emeralds on the island. You go, you're brightly yellow and all that. How they work the mechanics into the boss fights is really interesting. And the music just fucking slaps. Like
I do like Sonic music.
I have kept on going back and listening to the Sonic music. They got One OK Rock did one of the singles, which is a Japanese rock band that I really like. Kelly Quinn, lead singer of Sleeping Sirens, did another one called Undefeatable, which is fucking amazing. But like a lot of the mechanics of the fight, like a lot of the enemies you don't really need to fight. You can skip it if you don't really care for it. Sorry, we can't skip it because of the achievement hunting element of it.
Right.
But like if you're a normal player, you could skip it and not have to worry about it. You can still complete
Yeah.
the game without having to worry about the enemies other than the bosses. Where it really shines is when you go into these portals that open from the cogs you get as collectibles. They're essentially the old Sonic levels with a 3D flare or a 2.5D kind of thing. So you've got like your traditional side-scrolling ones like as a 2.5D kind of thing. You've got your railway track kind of ones of the like early 360 ones where you're just running through a zone, but they're fucking gorgeous. But then you go back to this open zone world and everything's dull and grey again.
Right, okay.
So if they can, like, you know what? Essentially the open zone world needs the pop-ins fixed, a fresh coat of paint. That's essentially it. Like, those are my major two criticisms. The other good thing is, too, I can pass the control to Persephone. She didn't have to fight enemies or anything. She can just run around and go, I'm Sonic, and love it. I will be honest, I skipped half the cutscenes, but then towards the ending, it does actually tell you the story, and the story was good enough for me to actually go, like, all right, cool, I need to go and look this up on YouTube. I'm interested now.
Oh wow, shit. Okay, I'm gonna have to play this game now
because there is a new character in it.
Cool.
That ties in with the ending really well.
Is it a princess that he makes out with again in a very weird thing?
No.
Sonic 2006 was an abomination of a video game for many reasons.
No, like, okay, Sonic Frontiers was actually so good that we went, all right, let's put Sonic Adventures on. Because it was only $5.
Huh.
You know what, though? In terms of a 3D Sonic kind of game that Percy can just, like, sit there and play around with.
That was the first one, so...
Yeah. But, yeah, I would be very, very surprised if Sonic Frontiers doesn't slide into my Game of the Year list. Probably, like, 4 or 5.
Okay.
Just the gameplay is that solid. It's one of those things, though, if they had more color in the open world and with the environments, because of the like the metal boxes and all in the air, what they needed to do was essentially have like a forest level, but the branches are your like kind of rails, and they need to hide it into the environments a bit better. But I think if they could do something like that in the future, it'd be solid. Yeah, I would say in terms of like where it's sitting, I put it as a 4.5. I'm pretty sure on TA. Thinking more about it, I probably would rate this as an 8. But like I this is a 3 out of 5 game that plays like a 5 out of 5 game. I've kept on saying that.
Okay.
Just because of how bad the pop-in and all that is. But it is very fun. And as soon as there is some kind of sale, I would say definitely pick it up. You're either going to love it or hate it, depending on how you feel about these kind of games. But people that know me know that like Sunset Overdrive, Titanfall, those are the kind of games I gel with really, really well.
Yeah.
Sunset Overdrive with that kind of like skiing cons rails kind of mechanic and that's what this is, essentially.
I have to play this. I need to figure out what the fuck's going on here because this sounds like madness. Because
you're gonna play and you're gonna be like, I hate you. This was.
I might. To be fair, I need to know one way or the other.
Now, I caveat all this with the asterisks of Sonic is my daughter's favorite IP.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a lot of bias here.
Potentially, yes. I will let you know. I'll give you the truth.
I'm actually really keen to watch Sonic Prime when it comes out next month on Netflix.
I'm curious to see it too, actually.
All right. But yeah, and Vampire Survivors. Just if you haven't already, just play Vampire Survivors. Why would you listening to this podcast and you're not playing Vampire Survivors? What are you doing? I don't think there's any vampires in the game, but yeah.
That sucks.
There is. But yeah.
All right. Have you got the Game Pass stuff, Cameron, or do you want to just move on?
Yeah, I have the Game Pass stuff. So we had Pentiment Somerville, which we've talked about briefly. I imagine that we're probably going to try and fit Pentiment in sometime upcoming episode. Coming soon, we have... Actually, sorry, it's already out. Dune Spice Wars in-game preview. I do not know anything about this Dune game.
Neither.
Yeah.
No.
Ghost Law, game preview as well. Lappin also came out, which... Bunnies, yeah. Norco as well, which I'm very curious about because that apparently has a really good story.
Yeah, apparently. Point and click.
Gungor Grave, which is also coming out 22nd. That one I'm very interested in, just seeing how well that goes. That's based on an old franchise, yeah?
Which one?
Gungor...
I don't
Gungrave
know,
Gore, sorry.
Maybe. It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. Insurgency Sandstorm, the 29th. Soccer Story on the 29th, which I'm very keen to check out because it's just one of those, you know, really nice pixel art kind of adventures. And then Warhammer 40k Dark Tide on PC, November 30th. In case you missed it, games leaving are Archvale, Deer Simulator, Final Fantasy 13-2, Mind Scanners, Mortal Shell, Space Warlord, Organ Trading Simulator, Undungeon, and Warhammer. I am probably going to do Mind Scanners out of that because nobody else that I fucking know wants to.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
God damn it. And I might do Archvale if I got time. And Space Warlord.
Archvale, Deer Simulator, and Space Warlord are all very, very quick games.
Everyone should do Space Warlord. It takes anywhere up to 3 hours if that.
But leave Deer Simulator last because it's janky.
It is. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
All right. Leaderboard, Charlotte.
Yeah. So in our leaderboard, in third place we have Kiku on 16,620. In second place we have Chapter. Yeah.
How is it? Oh, okay. Anyway, yep. Cool. Chapter
with 20,865. And Kamikisu in number 1 on 22,485.
Woo! Good to have some fresh names on the
level.
Nice
some big numbers up there. Yeah, he's back. Guess who's back?
When's he streaming again? We miss you.
We do, but no pressure.
But
some pressure.
Under pressure.
And then we have completions. So everybody's done Grounded. If you haven't, there's a save. Just ask one of them to give you the save. I know Neo has it, and Cameron has it, and Valak has it, and Rita has it.
Don't promise a save to somebody realizing that the game's uninstalled and then message Matt after and being like, "Hey, can you send Aftos a save?" Because Aftos
you do also know that it's on cloud, right? I don't have it installed. I just fired up the cloud streaming to play it.
Yeah, you can just do cloud streaming.
He just went to me. He's just like, "Are you serious, dude?" I'm just like, I can't not let you down.
That's funny.
Anyway, it's fine. He'll hear this in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's fine. So Rapture just completed a bunch of baby games. Just a lot of them. Firehawk D completed Limbo, Metro 2033 Redux, Space Warlord Trading Simulator, Archvale, and Limbo. Mikhail completed Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The Natolinator completed Shred-it, Perfect Traffic Sim, Crazy Tanks, Maximum Football 2018, a 41% completion percentage, Super Toy Cars, Dear Sim, 101 Ways to Die, and Maneater.
Been busy.
Is he dead yet?
Yeah.
Yeah? Maybe?
I don't know. Maybe we'd have to ask him probably.
Somebody's using some paternity leave off, eh?
Mark B completed Operation Zeta, which is the great game that our friend made, and
we didn't even mention that.
Game.
We didn't even mention that. Oh, goddamn!
So we can mention it now. Oh. Everyone should find and play Operation Zeta because the newest update has come out, and there's an achievement where you can unlock us.
Yeah, our dismembered heads.
We're in a game. There's an achievement for us.
And I'm wearing my purple onesie.
And it's called podcasting.
The pink onesie, but yes, you are indeed wearing the unicorn onesie.
I need to go back to
absolutely fantastic.
Questions later.
Yeah. So
I think
everyone
Kia's
should
the
play
only
it.
one in the community that's completed it fully.
Yeah.
No, yes. Mikhail.
Mikhail, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Did he finish the...
Not Mikhail, sorry. Mark B.
Did he finish the DLC?
I don't know. You'd have to find out.
Okay.
Because he might have completed it and then it came out, but I don't know timing. You'd have to look at the completions. Yeah. Then Frost completed Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 Z Edition, and then Resident Evil 8. The Moonzom completed Superliminal, Paparazzi, and Somerville. Bulbasaur completed Spellbreak finally. Woo! Valak C completed Dear Sim, Fable 3, Space Warlord, Organ Trading Simulator, and Archvale. And is currently working on the other ones leaving, so he's going to try and Valak them before they go as well. Then Keo completed Spellbreak and Dissidia, Final Fantasy.
Mark B, yeah, I'm sorry about that title update, buddy.
Yeah. All right. And I guess we're gonna talk about the word challenge, which I was given some shit because apparently we didn't have any new clues, but that was because Alex ruined it for everyone by guessing it correctly.
Wow.
So I have a new game that is sitting in there. So the bot is updated, has a new clue, and the clue is this game has a new game plus mode. And that's all you're getting for the first week. So good luck. It's not The Witness. And if I see anyone guessing The Witness, you know what's going to happen.
Is it The Looker?
It's not The Looker.
It's The Seer.
It's not. It's none of those things. It is none of those things.
Okay. In terms of any game, like, all right, look, I understand we all game for achievement share, but if you ever get the chance, play The Looker. It's an hour long. It's fucking amazing.
Okay, all right. I will.
It's just The Witness, but just taking the piss out of it.
Amazing.
I never actually played The Witness, I'll have to admit. But if you don't know what the word challenge is, basically the idea is that I pick a video game, and we have a channel on our Discord, discord.io/Hall of Gamers. I believe it's the Discord channel.
Yep.
And you can go in there and guess, and if you guess it right, you win $20 Australian or whatever that is in your local currency. So go in there, you get one guess per hour. And each week I'll give away a clue until someone gets it. So get in there, hang out with us. The Discord is the best place to hang out with us in general, discord.io/Hall of Gamers. We've got all of our stuff in there. It's a great place to ask questions as well as keep up to date with kind of all the stuff that we do there. We've also got an exclusive Patreon channel in there. Cameron, you want to talk about Patreon?
Yep. So, sorry. Just having a... I had it set up and it's just closed it for whatever reason. All right, Patrons. We have Lee Howard, Mikhail Chapters, Natalata, Firehawk, Mad Lefty, which Lefty, you won the Patreon draw like 2 months ago, buddy. You need to listen to some episodes and get $30 from me. Just leaving this here. Hopefully you made it to the end of the podcast and didn't swap out like 10 minutes ago. Yeah, cool. Admiral, Keo, Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, and who's that last one? Mick Ivan Legend. Yeah, cool. It's like cut off like half the list for me. Patreon's done like an update or something. It's been really weird. We wouldn't be able to run the show without you guys. Sorry, Patreon's been a pain in the ass at the moment. Also have a draw coming up, which I have the 4 games set as Lucent Village, Paper Count Mansion, Tanuki Sunset, and Saturnalia? Saturnalia is currently...
Saturnalia.
Okay, yep, cool. It's currently winning at the moment. So, we will draw that next week, the week after, something like that.
A couple of weeks, 2 more weeks, I think, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us towards the end of the show. If you like the show, you can always come hang out with us live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. You can come hang out in the chat. We've got a few people in here, like David and Allison's here and Keo here and that sort of stuff, and Zach hanging out and asking questions and shit posting. So we greatly appreciate the support.
Posting. That's
mostly shit talking.
It's 90% shit posting. But yeah, come hang out with us either on there or on the Discord afterwards. Now, and if you want to help out the other podcast in other ways, you can contact us on our email, hallofgamerspodcast@gmail.com, or we're at hallofgamerspod on Twitter for as long as Twitter exists. Otherwise, subscribe to us.
2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we'll see. Subscribe to us on your platform of choice. Leave us a review, all that kind of stuff. Word of mouth, as always, is hugely important for us. We're also probably looking for a few more guests. So if people want to, come hang out. Again, we are getting towards the end of the year, so I know timing's a little bit difficult. But especially for like the new year and that kind of stuff for next year, we want to put together maybe a bit more of a list of getting some more people on. So, if you want to throw your hat in the ring, let us know.
Should we watch Die Hard?
We're
we're doing that. That is not a choice.
We're gonna watch Die
I
Hard.
wonder if Die Hard 2 is on Amazon Prime. I wonder if we do like stream of it.
Well, we'll see if we can do that. Yeah, that'd be great. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It is.
It is. We don't. None of us deny this.
Yeah.
We are all agreement on that.
All right, David. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Charlotte. If you want to be found, what are the dates?
Just don't leave me alone. Charmandosaurus _Rex on Twitch. AudreyChar on most other things, and the Char with many names on Discord.
Fantastic, Cameron.
Sorry.
Leave the ghost alone.
There's not the fucking bugs. Anyway.
Casper's been a real dick.
Fuck's sake. Shadowless Edge _ on Twitch. Shadowless Edge on pretty much everything. I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then whenever I feel like. Cool. Thanks.
Cool. And I am Neomaster and everything. I don't stream, and you'll never catch me doing so. Actually, that's not true. Maybe not never, but not at the moment.
So
does that not technically count if you're in my stream?
No, it does not count. So you're Neomaster and everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord, as always. Thank you very much to our live audience. Thank you very much to our listeners. And thank you to my wonderful hosts, Charlotte and Cameron, for supporting the show and making sure that, we actually have something to talk about. And it's not just, one of us yelling into the void like the crazy people that we are.
It's three of us yelling into the void.
I mean, we do that every week.
It's basically, yes. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 61. We will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Ciao.